Hey, what's up guys, Mashine here, come back with a brand new video for you guys. Today we're going to be talking about everything you need to know for the Paris sale. Now the first question that comes up is how long is this Paris sale going to last? And obviously we don't have a set date, but we can look at a couple factors. The first of which is the previous sale lengths. Now the past four have averaged about 2 months apiece, but if we want to look at them, they've been getting increasingly longer, especially considering Paris is theoretically on track to be the longest sale ever. However, there is one factor that interferes with that, which we'll talk about after a quick word from today's sponsor. The sponsor for today's video is SkinSwap. Now SkinSwap is the premier place for CSGO skins and Rust skins. They've got a trading feature with highly competitive rates, they've got a super easy to use selling feature, and if you're looking to deposit today, you're going to be getting a 40% bonus on your deposit. And the best thing, if you sign up with the link in the description, you're going to be getting a free case worth up to $150. So what are you waiting for? Join today and fill all of your CSGO skin needs. And that factor obviously is Counter-Strike 2. We don't know when the release date is going to be. It's hypothesized to be the summertime, as that's what Valve has said, but with all due respect, we don't know if that's actually when it's going to come out, and we also don't know if the Paris sale is going to translate over into CS2. Now the one good thing about this is we can almost guarantee Valve will let you know before the Paris items are removed. It's what they've did with the previous two stickers, and honestly it's a very easy way for them to make some extra money, so I would highly suggest them to do it, and I find it extremely unlikely that they wouldn't. However, if you're looking to buy and you're on this specific currency, I would suggest you wait, and that's the euro. I don't know what Valve has against the euro, but honestly, whenever I speak about currencies losing out, most of the time it's the euro. I don't know why they do this, but basically they've gone ahead and made the 75% off sale down to a 0.25 for the euro, which is equivalent to about 0.27 USD, which is almost 10% more than everyone else is paying for these capsules, considering the standard price is 0.25 USD. I don't know why they do this, and honestly, it's just really unfortunate for people on the euro, because now they're forced to either buy off the Steam market or third-party marketplaces because they cannot afford to pay 10% more for a singular capsule. It just doesn't make sense. Now at this portion, I really haven't looked at some other currencies. If you guys do want to see a full video about that and see if there are any that could potentially be exploited, make sure to drop it down in the comments. Now the one thing almost no one was expecting was for Stockholm and Antwerp to pop off, but that's exactly what they did. If we want to look at the Stockholm Contenders capsule, it's up almost 40% in the past 5 days alone. That's a crazy increase, and almost all of it came from the fact that the Paris sale dropped, which is such an interesting predicament because we almost never see this. I honestly don't remember if we've ever seen this before, and it's not just the Contenders, it's all of these Stockholm capsules, although the Legends has given a little bit back. Antwerp also did try and kind of copy this trend, although that one has pretty much given all of it back and is currently sitting at roughly a similar price point to what it was about 5 days ago. This is still a crazy difference, almost a swing of what a lot of people were thinking. A lot of people were thinking that these capsules might decrease a little bit more, and the fact is the sale came out and these things absolutely exploded. Stockholm specifically, but even Antwerp has gone up a little bit for the most part, and the fact that it didn't decrease at this point says a significant amount of where these capsules are currently sitting at. If you want my personal opinion, I don't really think the time is now to buy some of these specific things. If you wanted to buy before the sale, that was definitely up to you, and I guess even some Antwerp capsules could potentially be there, but I honestly think if you didn't invest into Stockholm before the Paris sale, there's not really any reason to now. You kind of missed the boat. But the one thing you need to be doing right now is cashing in your souvenir tokens. Now, I don't think that these are going to be removed on the 30th like Valve has put into their shop, but you don't really need to take that risk. In my honest opinion, I don't think we're going to be seeing any maps removed like we saw with Rio, and therefore we're not going to see any of those Dust 2 souvenir package situations where we see massive profit for one souvenir package. It's just not going to happen at this point because Valve would have done it already. We're in the player break right now, and this is the time where they have the opportunity to make these major changes. They're not going to do it, and therefore it's not really going to do you any benefit in holding onto these tokens for a significant amount of time, and therefore I would say just don't run the risk. And that's obviously because after June 30th, they theoretically could just take your tokens back. Now, should you be investing into Paris right now? And the answer is potentially yes, but most definitely for the most part no, and that's because of a couple different things. The first off, if we want to talk about capsules themselves, it is not the time to invest into capsules. We talked about it in a previous video, but there is zero benefit for buying the capsules immediately right off the sale unless you're going to be opening them up, which to be fair, the ROIs on these are sitting incredibly high, but we'll talk about that in a quick second. Now for these capsules overall, there's going to be a very long sale, as we kind of talked about just a couple minutes ago, and therefore you're going to have more than enough opportunity to potentially buy these under market price, as we've seen with a lot of capsules in the past. There's not any benefit to buying now, and I want to make that as clear as possible that you shouldn't be buying now and just holding on to them. Now, talking about investing into stickers specifically, I still don't think it's going to be the best time to do so. If you want to look at a lot of the hollows, which I would think are the the most desirable to invest into, you can see that a lot of them have gone up a significant amount since the sale released. Obviously they dropped down, but then they shot right back up, suggesting that not enough people are opening these. And if we look at the ROIs, which we will in a second as well, a lot of people potentially aren't opening up these, or at least not enough. And that's compared to the sheer amount of demand that we're seeing for the Paris Hollows. If we want to talk about the Paris Glitters, we can see here that a significant difference can be seen. And that's the fact that almost all of these glitters dropped down and stayed low. When we look at the Hollows, we can see that some of them started rising again because they just had so much demand for crafting, and they were obviously unboxed a very small amount beforehand. But with the glitters, completely different story. We're seeing them drop down a little bit more, which suggests that it is very possible that we could see the Hollows for Paris drop down in the future, just given enough time. In my personal opinion, even though it may be extremely hard to do so, I don't see any benefit for buying into any Paris items right now, especially for the stickers, and therefore I would say just hold off. Even though it's definitely going to be hard, it's probably going to be significantly more beneficial than someone that buys in right now. That's because you're going to be getting a lot of information, and some of that information is going to be coming up relatively quickly. That's because currently the capsules are unable to be listed on the market, at least for about a day and a half after this video comes out. And that's because you have a 7-day cooldown once you buy these capsules from Valve, and therefore you have to wait. But the thing is, we really don't know where the capsule demand kind of sits with that. Obviously, the listings or the supply on the market is not a very good representation of the overall supply. However, it is a number that you can roughly use to kind of get a basic understanding, and we kind of want that understanding at this point, to be completely honest with you. And speaking of information that we want, if we want to look at the ROI for these capsules, these are abnormally high. I mean, if we want to look at some websites, they've even got them over 100% ROI, which I would almost guarantee you is because they don't really value 3-cent items correctly. By listing those 3 cents on the Steam market as 3 cents of ROI, you're going ahead and deceiving your customers by giving them a much higher ROI. It's a problem I ran into when I did ROIs myself. However, this shows a couple different things. The first of which is either that these capsules are keeping a very increased price for their hollows, which is definitely true. If we want to look at a lot of hollows like we previously mentioned, a lot of them are still extremely expensive. The second is that potentially not a ton of people are opening these up, highly suggesting the idea that Stockholm and Antwerp are going to prosper because of this, because people are seeing that those have a much more limited supply, and therefore people are going to opt towards that. Obviously very early into the sale, and we can't make any conclusive conclusions because of this information, because this is just the very short term. But what should you specifically be doing during this time? Well, honestly, this is a still decent time to go ahead and open up some capsules. You can see me doing in the background, and honestly, I don't think there's going to be a much better chance to do so. If you missed out on that opening night where the ROI was over 100%, there's still a couple that are sitting at a decent percentage, and I think you should take advantage of that. Investing into Paris at this time is not going to be worthwhile, just because we know the situation can improve, and I don't really expect anything to get much more expensive or any worse. But that's all I got. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of the day.